Good morning to all of you out there. I'm Cito Beltran. Welcome to the program agenda. Today is March 9, 2021. It's a Tuesday, and we hope you are all in the best of health, feeling well mentally, physically, and spiritually. And we do hope that today you will join us to take part in the program and also to figure out how our situation really is regarding COVID-19, particularly in Metro Manila, in the Calabar Zone, and some other provinces. Today, we have invited to the program Dr. Ted Herbosa, Special Adviser to the National Task Force versus COVID-19. And we will not just get an update, but ask him regarding medical conditions and vaccination. Kasi po, the reason for this is because a number of people have been sending out this message on Viber primarily. I haven't seen it on Facebook, but on Viber, purportedly from the Beijing Vaccine Prevention Center. No, sabi ko, talaga bang bali-bali ang English doon sa China or meron ditong nanloloko? Is someone pulling our leg? Because, Vaccine Prevention Center, parang weird, mali, hindi ba? Mali. But nonetheless, people persist in sharing the information, and when I reviewed the information, it is one of those white lie, half-truth, maybe or might not be a cause for concern kasi it concerns people who have diabetes, people who have high blood pressure, people who have just undergone post-surgery, people who have hepatitis B like myself, etc., etc., people who have had heart surgery. Yung bang mga maraming bagay, pag-usapan natin ngayon with Dr. Ted Herbosa in a while because, of course, I'm sure that there are a lot of you who may have comorbidities or medical conditions that you're wondering, pwede ba ako magpa-vaccinate for COVID-19? Is there a risk? What are the chances of a complication, etc.? So far naman po mga kaibigan, wala. We have not heard, wala tayong nababalitaan ng mga tao, people affected because of the vaccine itself. Okay, so, but let's ask an expert on the matter. Mahirap na yung naghahaka-haka and then magsishare tayo kasi yung iba po nagsishare ng out of concern. They share it, but and also because out of ignorance. Okay, so and then we will be speaking with one of our regulars on agenda, General Manager of the Metro Manila Development Authority, Jojo Garcia, GM Jojo Garcia. Because as of yesterday, March 8th, the number of cases of COVID-19, new COVID-19 cases, once again broke the 3,000 mark. I think we are already running on day 3 or day 4, where we have had more than 3,000 cases per day. As of yesterday, the cases were 3,300. And don't quote me on this, but our mortalities are already in the 12,000 number. Now, may mga nagsasabi, excellent naman daw tayo because compared to America, compared to Brazil, etc., etc., our numbers are very low, and rightfully so. But, that doesn't take away the fact that there's still about 12,000 Filipinos who died. And the fact that after successfully bringing down the number of cases, we are once again on the rise. The thing is, no one has really addressed this question. COVID-19 new variants ba ang dahilan? Yung UK variant and yung South African variant, are those the primary triggers for the new cases? Or Is it because of a combination of the new variants plus our attempt at normalcy, our attempt at opening the economy, etc.? Kasi nagbababag na naman po. Hindi naman physical. There is no physical or verbal, conflict going on between the pros and the cons. But there is now a push on both sides, those who don't want to open up the economy just yet until the vaccines are out, and those who are pushing for the opening of the economy because, as far as they're concerned, if we don't open by the end of the year, fully open by the end of the year, there might be no turning back until 2023 or 2024. Lalong-lalo na at may eleksyon. In any case, let's go to the next part of the program. Let's check the front page headline of the Philippine Star. Okay, no lockdown despite rising COVID-19 cases. Palas, Malacanang Palas says the Philippines cannot afford another lockdown despite the recent spike of COVID-19 cases since March 5. Over 3,000 new infections have been reported daily, but Malacanang says a hard lockdown is out of the question with many families experiencing hunger. Okay, comment ko lang po dyan, sana po magawa ng Malacanang, lalo na ng spokesman, to come out with the figures. Let's give an informed, intelligent presentation on the matter. Because if you say, no, we can't afford it, parang bata eh. Why can't we afford it? Diba? It's like bringing a child to a toy store and the child wants, or in the supermarket, and the child wants to buy something and you say, no, we can't afford it. Why? Why can't we afford it? Hindi titigil yung bata kasi yung can't afford, wala sa concept niya yun eh. In the same token or in the same manner, we need to inform the public what are the realities that face the decision makers in the government so that it's a lot easier to swallow. Still on COVID-19, the Health Department has sought the help of the World Health Organization in assessing the country's situation when it comes to new variants. Okay, medyo weird, no? Weird po yung dating ng balitang yon kasi I think it is an admission that they have to figure out, okay, number one, do we have the capacity to actually test, trace all the people with COVID UK variants or South African variants? Number two, yung spread, paano ba ang gagawin? Kasi parang, bakit kailangan pa bang i-memorize, isasabihin ng iba, no? Pero I guess it's good. I mean, I have to be fair. It's good that the Department of Health is reaching out to the World Health Organization for help. It is an admission that A, we got a problem, or we think we have a problem. B, we need confirmation of the problem because we don't have the resources to fully test and explore the extent of the problem, and see what can we do about the problem. Kasi parang baka call a friend na yung DOH kasi nag-uumpugan nga, di ba, yung business at saka yung health regarding open. Baka pag pumasok ang World Health Organization and they say, gentlemen, you've got a serious problem, you've got to go back to lockdown, medyo sasabihin siguro ng DOH, ayan, tumawag na kami ng outside opinion, independent opinion. We'll find out. And of course, in other news, the government will investigate the deaths of 9 activists in southern Tagalog in what was called a Bloody Sunday. Yan po ang problema pag medyo nagiging bukang bibig ng ating pamahalaan. If the word of the president or of the government or the, I don't know if it's, I suppose it's now policy. It may not be written, but it is certainly declared that it's an all-out war, and they will fight and shoot it out and kill any of those who are who shoot at government, which is understandable. Pero sometimes some people take it as a license to kill. So I do hope the government, kasi mahirap po nito, baka mamaya nyo kamo, umabot na naman yan sa United Nations, umabot na naman yan sa The Hague, doon sa Criminal Court, International Court of Justice. Pagkatapos, biglang magpapaimbestiga na naman kay Secretary Maynard Guevara, and mapipilitan na naman si Secretary Guevara magsabing, the protocols were not observed. So, but the bad part about this, ladies and gentlemen, in the end, the long arm of the law is long. Kahit na wala ka na sa serbisyo, wala ka na sa pwesto, pag may naghabol, mahahabol po tayo dyan. Okay, and last but not the least, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle opened up in a historic interview with Oprah Winfrey about various issues they face, this including Meghan's battle with suicidal thoughts and alleged racism with the royal family. Yan po, no? This serves as a lesson to many of you who are still wishing and praying for a Prince Charming. Okay? Mamaya nga, may Prince Charming ka, pero yung future mother-in-law mo naman ay Witches of Eastwick, or sino ba yung nasa hindi Cinderella, siya yung kalimutan ko na yung movie, Disney movie yata yun, or whatever na ano siya, which, but I'll remember, forgive me. In any case, okay, puntahan na natin yung ating first guest. Maybe he can prescribe me some medicine for my partial memory loss. We have with us Special Adviser to the National Task Force versus COVID-19, Dr. Ted Herbosa. Dr. Ted, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Cito, and good morning sa mga televiewers mo dyan.
Kamusta ka na? Ako yung very obedient patient mo. Napa-flu vaccine na ako, nagpa-pneumonia vaccine na ako, pero ang
COVID-19, you still have to wait, yes.
Yeah, and first of all, could we get an update from you? Because there is a push-pull situation where I'm sensing. There is the push for the opening of the economy, and there is a pull from the health experts saying, no, we have a problem here. In fact, the DOH reaching out to the World Health Organization for assessment of the variant is an indicator that we do have a problem. Could you give us a professional view of this thing?
Well, first of all, because I became Undersecretary of Health and I was exposed to a wider view of how government works. And being a former clinician as well and a doctor, I can understand the two. But you ask me honestly, the two do not actually compete with each other. I find them like husband and wife. Health and economics must work together. Ang problema lang, meron third party, the politics. So yun yung mistress. So that's how I look at it. I think health and economics, because we now know more about COVID-19 and how it spreads and what to do, because nothing has changed, even with the variants. Understand that nothing has changed in terms of the medical approach. So what we did wrong before was massive lockdowns. I think you can see the resistance of local chief executives from doing massive citywide lockdowns, and even our national government making statements that yes, the variant is here, but even if the variant is here, we can still contain it with our capacity in the health system, with aggressive contact tracing, aggressive community testing, and making sure the people follow the minimum health standards, the wearing of the face mask, the face shield, and avoiding now public places because the new variant seems to be carrying a mild or asymptomatic case. So that's what Pasay and the other areas are reporting.
Okay.
They have a lot of cases, but they are mild and asymptomatic, which
Doc Ted,
brings it to spread faster, but
yeah,
still need hospitals. So our hospitals aren't, well, they're getting full, but
yeah.
they're not critical. They're not dying or they're not critical.
Okay, Doc Ted, so para maliwanag lang sa mga nasa probinsya, no, yung hindi nalalaman yung sitwasyon sa NCR, Calabarzon, etc. We have COVID-19, even if we have the UK variant, even if we have the South African variant, pag sama-samahin mo yun, wala pa rin nagbabago sa sitwasyon because ang gamutan pareho pa rin, ang health protocols pareho pa rin. So, kasi kakasabi ko lang kanina sa executive producer ko, I think the game has changed because this UK and South African variant was not here last March, and its capacity
Transmit
to transmit is so much
higher.
higher.
Correct. So in fact, that's what happened in the UK. No, when they had the UK variant, they had the first doses of the vaccines, Pfizer and Astra. What they did is they decided to give to more people, and instead of keeping one half for the second dose for the
Mm-hmm.
people that got vaccinated. So that's another part of the plan that needs to be done to aggressively immunize. Because after they did that, the variant and the outbreaks seem to have stopped and seems to have
Mm-hmm.
slowed down. And they have cases like this in Scotland, in the UK, and even in Israel, which is the country that has vaccinated almost 50% of its population. So there's proof that the rapid vaccination of the population will actually deliver some form of defense. Our problem, though, is that uh, our deliveries are slow because we're not a vaccine manufacturing country like the UK. Our
Mm-hmm.
deliveries have been slow, and we only have about 1,100,000 doses in the Philippines so far, and they're both
Mm-hmm.
donations.
Yeah.
We're due to receive our 1,000,000 first 1,000,000 doses that we ordered from Sinovac sometime this March if it pushes through,
Mm-hmm.
late March. So that will add to our stockpile. So our problem is really the global logistics and supply deliveries of the vaccines because the people are ready. It seems people want to be vaccinated. People are asking me, when are we, the public, getting our vaccines? You, the healthcare workers, have gotten yours. Problem is, we're not even 30% of the healthcare workers. The 1.1 million means that's about 600,000 healthcare workers. We have 1.8 million healthcare workers in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
I'm
tama.
thinking April, May, we can start
Yeah.
vaccinating the senior citizens and the public.
So I was right when I said yesterday that by my estimates, there's maybe 1 million, marami na yung 2 million. So hindi pa pala dumating yung sa AstraZeneca na akala ko may 1 million na dumating. So it's purely Sinovac that's on the ground.
No, not
And
Astra.
the
Astra is there. Astra is there.
AstraZeneca came at
525,000 doses.
525. So 1.5 at the most.
Yes, yes, 1.5. No, that's
Yun.
the total. 600 plus 525. So it's over
Ah.
1.1 million. That's our stockpile.
Mm.
So we're almost done delivering the Sinovac to the different areas. So we're now rolling out the AstraZeneca from the COVAX facility. So that's
Okay.
where we are. We're trying to do it as fast as possible because COVAX promised that if we deliver their vaccines, I mean deploy it very fast and inject it to as many health workers as we can, they will send the next delivery immediately. So we're also trying to ramp up deployment. So at the
Mhm.
National Vaccine Operations Center, we're really trying to ramp up the deployment. And you can see the deliveries to the regions are there, but the regions have to deliver and vaccinate their people, their healthcare workers there.
Is it such a complicated process that parang hello, sanay na tayong magbakuna ng mga bata, ng mga matatanda. What is slowing the process, if at all?
Actually, it's not slow. Maybe people don't understand that many of the things that happen in the back room of a supply chain management, they don't see. When you drink your soft drink bottle, many
Mm.
things happened before that soft drink bottle came to your hand.
Mm.
So that's the whole supply chain process. And from delivery, from the time it is delivered to the airport to the time it gets to your arm, there are so many steps that it goes through. And if you look at that chart, it's actually a very complex chart. And it lands in Manila, it lands to a cold chain storage. It has to be
Mhm.
distributed by the cold chain refrigerators, delivered by airplane to the different islands in cold chain as well, continuous cold chain, so it doesn't get destroyed. Then goes to a healthcare facility that needs to be vaccinated the following day, so you don't store it so long. So this is where we are. We've distributed about 80% of the 600,000 vaccines. So they're in the regions already. You can
Mhm.
see pictures of different provinces and islands already injecting their healthcare workers.
Okay, you
So
mentioned, Doc Ted, you mentioned earlier that the global trend now is not to dedicate the 1+1 vaccination protocol, but kumbaga lahat nung dumating, i-inject na the first dose, gawin na lang lahat first dose, and the second dose to follow. Now, some people are asking about that. Hindi ba delikado yan? Kasi nabakunahan ka nga ng first dose para lahat mas marami ang may initial protection o pansamantalang protection. Pero hindi ba delikado? Baka may time limit yan. Baka mapaso yung first injection. Paano na yun?
let me clarify that, no, that process was only done by the UK because they were experiencing the UK variant outbreak.
Mm.
They saw that it was so fast, even with their lockdowns and measures. It was so fast. So their decision was to just give the first dose to as many people. But the recommendation continues to be to reserve the second dose to the people that got vaccinated. So that within
Mm.
14 days, within 14 to 28 days, iba-iba kasi yung range ng mga bakuna, you can give the second dose, which gives you a full protection. The first dose gives a protection, but the second dose boosts it for a longer lasting protection for almost
Okay.
a year. So yun yung
Okay.
principle na, no.
Okay,
So if
Doc,
the second dose will arrive naman, hindi naman fiction na pag hindi mo nabigay on the fourth week, wala na yun. You can give that later, in the
mhm.
fifth week, sixth week. So okay pa rin yun. It's still a booster dose.
Okay. Doc, next question is about the UK variant and children. Kasi may mga lumalabas na balita that it affects younger people more. Unlike before where COVID-19 generally took down the elderly, the immunocompromised, the frontline workers. May mga nagsasabing ang tinatamaan daw nitong UK variant. I don't know about the South African variant, but ang tinatamaan mostly are pediatric cases. Is this accurate?
Understandably, because if you have a very transmissible, nakakahawa na virus, na variant,
Mm.
it will hit the people that are most mobile. So the highly mobile population will be the younger population, and those are the people that interact with each other. So for me, there must be some sense into that theory. I haven't read the papers that it really does hit the young more, but if that's what the reports are saying, it's possible. It's actually possible.
Okay, now if you would bear with me, Doc, kasi I'm sure you got this Viber message that allegedly came from a warning that came from the ano ba nakasulat din Beijing Vaccine Prevention Center. Sabi ko nga parang
Okay.
weird, 'di ba? But no, but it raises certain concerns, and you know what gets me is it's being circulated by rich people, educated people, and it is doing the rounds. And I'm kind of wondering, hello guys, I think we better talk to a doctor about this. So they're saying the insinuation is vaccination, COVID vaccine. How does it affect severely diabetic people? Delikado ba?
I haven't read that, no. Fortunately, none of my friends has shared that. You have to share that with me. But
Yeah, marami.
if
Mahaba ito.
if it's
Pag-usapan
spreading
natin
fast, I
ngayon.
believe you. Especially our burden of illness in the Philippines is diabetes. That
Mm.
is our heaviest burden of illness. There are so many Filipinos suffering from diabetes. And of course, you put any news there with the word diabetes, many
Mm.
people will read it and probably share it to their diabetic friends. So this is the danger of a pandemic or an epidemic. The misinformation or the
Yeah.
rumors spread faster than the virus. So
Yeah.
so
So
the problema to
that's why sabi ko,
verify first before you
let's
share.
get Doc Ted Herbosa para tanungin ko siya per case, ano ba? Is it a complication? Is it a problem? So severe diabetic and COVID-19 vaccine, is that a problem?
I've not heard of that, but severe diabetes and COVID 19 is a combination of complications. So that's
Mm-hmm.
it's age, it's obesity and diabetes, smoking. Those are the ones that were proven to have lead. So baka half truths yan. You know, many of the
Okay.
misinformation I read
Yeah.
use certain facts and then they twist it and then convert it to something sensational and then it gets shared.
Mhm. Okay, so parang ano lang, surface opinion na lang, ano? Those who suffer stroke are not advised to take the vaccine. Parang,
That's also a half truth. I think I read this already. I read this already.
yan
So
na,
finally,
sagutin.
I
Oh,
quickly stopped reading after the first two sentences. Sorry, I
no.
stopped reading because it looks like what do you call this? Talagang in-scheme niya eh. Parang it's a
Oo,
spin eh. It's a half
oo.
truth and you're a comms person. So you
Yeah,
understand
no,
that people spin a truth and
exactly. You
still
see?
when it's spun, it's still a half truth, but it's a
Yeah.
total lie.
No, but that's why I asked that we get a specialist such as you or an expert such as you to debunk it point by point. Kasi at one point katulad ako may hepatitis ako, bigla akong napa-focus eh. Sabi ko, hepatitis B. Teka. Ano connection ng hepatitis B dito sa vaccine? Meron na akong pneumonia, meron na akong flu vaccine. Wala naman nangyari sa akin. So, in any case, those who suffer stroke, not advisable to take vaccine. In terms of general vaccines, I mean, flu vaccine, pneumonia vaccine, alam ko meron naman mga stroke
Yeah,
victim na nabakunahan, di ba?
and it's really well the true part of the statement is you never give a vaccine to a person who just suffered a stroke, but if the
Mm.
person suffered a stroke many years ago and fully recovered months ago, even
Mm.
6 months, I'd give a new vaccine to a person who's had the
Mm.
vaccine even 6 months. Yun yung
Okay.
ano doon.
And ladies and gentlemen, ano, baka sabihin nyo, Sito, ginagamit mo lang yung spin o yung white lies sa Viber para pandagdag ng material. Meron po, there is actually a report that in the initial vaccination rollout in some European country, hindi ko na lang sasabihin, baka matawagan ako ng ambassador, eh nasaksak, hindi 1cc, nasaksak 5 eh. Kasi hindi marunong yung
The whole
nagsaksak.
vial.
Sabi ko, oh shucks, hindi na niya kailangan magpa-vaccinate until mamatay siya. In any case, what about malignant tumors? People with malignant tumors, cancer, etc. Paano yung situation? Because my sister has breast cancer and that would be a concern for her.
I think I'll generalize all these three: the diabetes, the stroke, and the cancer patient. All of them need to consult their personal physician on
Mm-hmm.
the advisability of getting a vaccine. So these are what we call the comorbid factors, illnesses that can be with you, but the final decision is really your attending physician. So you
Mm-hmm.
cannot make a general statement that everybody that has a stroke, everybody that has a diabetes,
Mm-hmm.
or everybody that has any kind of illness, cancer, cannot be vaccinated. So it's a case to case basis. So they fall on the far end of the normal curve. So you need a specialist or a doctor to actually decide who knows your case, what
Mm-hmm.
stage of cancer you are, is your immune system going to be stimulated, is it going to make it worse or is it going to be helpful. They're the ones that will tell you, yes, the vaccine is helpful, go ahead and get it even with this. What happens is you're classified as a moderate risk. So, in other words, if you have diabetes, if you have had a stroke, and you've had cancer, you will be classified among the vaccinees as a moderate risk. That means you will be observed longer. There are other complications they will look for depending on medicines you're taking. Stroke patient, they're probably taking a blood thinner, an
Yeah.
anticoagulant, because that's
Mm.
what will prevent their second stroke. So that means they can have a hematoma in the shoulder after the injection.
Okay.
That has to be washed. So mga ganun yung
Time out lang.
technical professional advice dyan.
Yeah, time out lang, Doc Ted. We'll just go for a commercial break. And when we come back, I want to pick up on those things that you said because someone asked me, Kuyang, are you on blood thinners? Sabi ko, why? The answer when we return here on Agenda. Welcome back to the program Agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and with us is Dr. Ted Herbosa, the advisor to the IATF. So you are an undersecretary already?
No. I'm executive vice president of the University of the Philippines.
Yeah, but
It's an
kanina may...
undersecretary rank, actually, the VP
Ayun.
of UPs also. So I still have the same government salary grade and rank.
Hindi,
But
kasi
I'm running the University of the Philippines.
Siyempre, I have to be,
So the special advisor is an additional work. It's an additional assignment given to you. It's like, it's like because of your expertise, you're asked to help the national government.
Pag magaling, ganyan talaga. In any case, Doc
I
Ted,
like it. We're friends forever.
we're friends. Magaling ka eh. Okay, there's a request here. Paki-clarify naman po, yung may sinabi kayong baka April or May, may bakuna na for seniors.
Okay. So I'm thinking of the deliveries kasi ang deliveries ng vaccine mga 1 million a month yan eh. 1 million for the first month, 1 million for the second month. So I'm estimating if we're due to vaccinate 1.8 million, by the time we get to the second million of vaccines, we're already starting with the senior citizens. So the indigents muna, followed by the all other senior citizens. By June or July, I think the private sector's orders are also arriving. So mag-uumpisa din yon yung mga in-order nila Secretary Joey Concepcion and group. Diba? They did a Astra order also. And I think that's arriving also mid-year. So that one will roll out as well together with in fact, their latest request is they be allowed to put up their own private vaccination centers as well to help the government roll it out faster. It's a logical, to me, it's a logical take out. Even the US used all their pharmacies and what do you call this? Sports arenas for all these vaccination sites so that they can vaccinate as fast as possible.
Aba, sa dami nung Mercury, Watson, at saka the generics company and South Star Drug. Kung yung mga pharmacies doon pwedeng mag-inoculate, di ang dami na kagad ng distribution network natin.
Tama. Yes,
okay.
we can get that herd immunity immediately for Metro Manila.
Now, going back to our discussion before the break, yung sinabi mong you gave a very good advice to our viewers. Don't believe everything you get on Viber or on Facebook. Go ask your doctor if you have a medical concern. Pero may nagtatanong pa rin, paano raw yung mga buntis? If you are pregnant, can you still be vaccinated kasi baka may transference doon sa baby?
That's a good question. The pregnant women should actually not get vaccinated if they're in the first trimester. Once
Mm-hmm.
they're in the second or third trimester, yung baby nun kasi buo na. The fetus is
Uh-huh.
already like a formed baby. So the chances of complication are less. You'll have again to discuss because never in the studies were it given to pregnant women. But if you're really high risk or at risk, that's a decision that you, the patient, the pregnant woman, and the obstetrician will have to make a decision together. So in other
You,
words, it's about risk management, no?
yeah.
Meron tayong mga things na hindi pa natin alam, and that's why you go to the doctor. The doctor will advise you on how to manage that risk based on the data or the information that's published out there.
Okay,
So I think
doc.
some pregnant women have been given in the US and in the
Mhm.
other parts of the North America and Europe.
Okay, I'm slowly processing all of your inputs, and I now go back to what you initially said because pregnant women were not part of the test. Now, it has been said by the FDA that senior citizens were not part of the Sinovac study, and that's why they did not recommend it for senior citizens. Now, has anything changed on that point? Because sabi mo, by May, baka meron ng pang senior citizen. Anong klaseng vaccine are you talking about? Are you talking about Sinovac or are you talking about AstraZeneca?
Well, first of all, it's not a restriction against senior citizens. In fact, if you notice, many of the hospital directors in the Philippines actually got themselves injected. I know they're much older than me, so they're above the 59 age group. So they got themselves injected and they signed the waiver. That's understanding the trial because when you do a trial, you also really take the safest group para less complications in study mo. The second thing is Sinovac is now in 17 countries and only 4 countries limited it to non-seniors. All 13 others are giving it to senior citizens. So Philippines is one of the 4 that said, teka muna, wag muna natin ibigay sa senior. Pero nakita niyo naman, even the physicians after studying the studies and the data, stepped up and got themselves vaccinated as well. So some of them are in the really old age group. But you see, again, this type of decision is dependent on how healthy you are above 60 because a healthy 65-year-old is probably lower risk than a unhealthy 59-year-old with diabetes, stroke, and cancer. So yun pa yung kailangan magtanong muna. So ano yan, risk management again yan. And that's why
Okay.
these doctors you see on TV are vaccinating themselves, even if you know these are your doctor friends who are above 59.
Speaking of which, how about you? Have you been vaccinated?
Yes, I was one of those vaccinated at the Philippine General Hospital.
Yeah.
So I had signed up for AstraZeneca. But unfortunately, there were so many delays that we were supposed to get vaccinated sometime Valentine's Day. But when I signed up, they asked our choice, but the choice isn't coming. So when Sinovac arrived on February 28th, I decided might as well get the vaccine, and so I got it together with Dr. Edsel Saldana right after
Mm.
Dr. Legaspi, the director, got his
Ayun.
injection.
Kasi all of the focus was on Dr. Legaspi.
Yes.
I didn't pick up that you were vaccinated. But meron tong tanong dito, in spite of UK variant, in spite of the South African variant, in spite of the 4-day spike in cases hitting 3,000 a day plus, are you confident in your statement or supposed statement that you support the transition to modified general community quarantine or MGCQ?
Yeah, this will change a little bit of our behavior. It will help the public health officials catch our cases because the important thing is really controlling the outbreak. So we have a clustering of cases. We know the barangays, we know the cities. We must make sure that they do not spread more. Especially, the one I'm scared of is if it remains uncontrolled in Metro Manila, and then we're allowing tourism already to happen to the different islands. This may seed the different vacation spots for the Holy Week. So it's very important we really contain this now while it's still controllable.
Okay. In spite of all of this, what is your prognosis? Or sa palagay mo ba? Well, let me pause kasi dami kong tatanong eh. Pero do you have any idea what's causing all of this? Kasi sinasabi lagi, UK and South Africa naman ngayon. There's always an excuse, but uh, could it be that we put our guard down at everyone is kind of like, pagod na. They call it COVID fatigue.
Well, that's exactly the statement of the Department of Health, that we shouldn't blame the variant. We should still look at the public health measures that we are supposed to be doing. If we are now all going out, we're now all careless about wearing a face mask, I think we will be able to transmit. The interesting thing about these variants is that we've found whole households infecting each other. So what does that mean? That means that you kind of feel confident if it's your relative together with you not to wear a face mask. So I think that's part of the sociological effects of this COVID fatigue that you're describing. So we put our guards down, as you say, and then when you're at home, anyway, you're always at home. You suddenly don't wear your mask. You eat together, you chat, and you don't realize that you're already infecting each other. So that's
Mhm.
the difference. The situational awareness ba, Sito, na
Yeah.
talagang this is more transmissible. We shouldn't stop kahit pagod na tayong kasusuot ng mask, mag-mask pa rin tayo, and it's the same measures, maybe even more meticulous than before. More meticulous tayo than before. Habang
Okay.
wala pang bakuna.
Yeah, some people would frown if I tend to be on the alarmist side. Pero medyo nagwo-worry na ako eh kasi ang dami ko nakikita pag nagda-drive ako sa mga probinsya na nagtutunggaan sa kanto, may karaoke, nagpa-party, akala mo walang COVID eh, may fiesta. You mentioned something, my last question, about hospital cases rising. Are we far from critical? Are we medium pa lang, etc.? What is the situation as far as health capacities are concerned?
We are moderate. What happened was after our cases went down from almost 10,000 a day, di ba? Lampas 10,000 a day. We went down to almost 1,000 lang a day. Even less than 1,000, may day na nag-800 lang tayo. We closed down many of our temporary treatment facilities and hotels that we contracted to use for isolation. So we're now readying up all of this again. I think I heard the response committee trying to increase quarantine facilities again. Isa surge uli yan because isa-isang sinara sila and then we consolidated them. Ganun din like sa Philippine General Hospital, we closed down a wing. So we'll probably just open up this wing again as the cases continue to rise. So merong surge capacity naman yung health system. So we will kick that off with the surge capacity. Pero once mapuno, kahit yung surge capacity, we'll be forced to do the lockdown. Ganun na yun. Kasi sabihin ng mga doktor ulit, time out muna. Di ba? Hindi na namin kaya yung dumadating. Mahina kalaban. So as of now, laban muna, but we're asking the public to really behave.
Okay, are we on the third wave?
I think this is still the rise of the second wave, and the second wave is usually smaller than the first, and we should be able to contain it because we're monitoring it, and then we know what to do. Hopefully, we'll do it right this time. We'll do it better this time. We'll do more meticulous and aggressive contact tracing. We'll do better testing, and it's all available now. Remember the first time we were building the testing centers.
Yeah.
We were training the contact tracers. We were training the people. So ano pa? It's a different ball game now. Parang
Okay.
kumbaga, we're more experienced.
That's great to know, and allow me to express on behalf of the Filipino people our gratitude to all of you physicians, frontliners, for being there to defend us, to take care of us, healing us, because it is the frontliners, the hospitals, that is actually making the difference in our fight against COVID-19. Thank you very much, Dr. Ted Herbosa.
Thank you, Sita, and thank you, everyone.
Okay, that's our regular friend here on Agenda, Dr. Ted Herbosa. And ayun po, no, maganda naman yung mix kasi sabi niya, dumadami ang kaso pero magaling na tayo. Alam na natin ng laban. We know how to deal with COVID-19. In fact, if there is a surge in cases, I suspect it's primarily because we changed. Nagbago na yung ugali eh. When we first had COVID in March, April, and May, the byword was stay home, medicate, mag-ingat, don't go to the emergency or to the hospital unless it's urgent or you're in really bad shape. And we discovered na by delaying, you die. So, but now, when people feel something, they go straight to the hospital, they go straight to their doctor, and there is already preventive, there is intervention. So anyway, let's go to a break, and when we return, let's speak with General Manager Jojo Garcia of the MMDA regarding tightening, paghihigpit sa buong Metro Manila ng mga alkalde here on Agenda. Okay, you're back here on the Agenda, and mapapansin niyo po, yeah, looking at my background here, it's raining in Lipa, Batangas. The weather here is 23 sa gabi, 22, 21. Medyo presko, nang inggit pa, no? Anyway, it's great to be in the province, although Lipa is actually a city, quite a developed city for most parts. And we are here now. Let's bring in our next guest, General Manager Jojo Garcia of the Metro Manila Development Authority. GM, good morning.
Ay, good morning, Boss Cito. Good morning to all your viewers and listeners. Good morning po.
Parang awa nyo naman po. Huwag nyo akong tinatawag na boss. Kayo po ang nanunungkulan. Anyway, GM, I'm worried, I'm concerned, but I'm also happy na kayo sa MMDA, you're actually, kumbaga, alert right now. Alert regarding the rise in COVID cases. I heard na naghahanap na daw ng mga potential quarantine hotels, etc. kasi dumadami. What's the situation, GM?
Actually, there's increase on numbers. No, as of yesterday, more than close to 4,000, mga 3,700 something. No, close to 4,000 ang cases natin. 2 weeks ago, mga 2,000 lang yan, 2,200 active cases. No, that's why I think that was last week. We have twice na nag-meet kami with DOH and the expert, and the last nga is last Saturday, no? Nag-present the whole DOH team with the WHO and the expert, no? Sila, and then the 17 mayors. So we talk about it, no? Yung prevention, no? Still, no? Yung minimum health protocols, targeted lockdown. But of course, may mga concerns nga yung mga mayors natin. Sabi nga nila, no? Hindi na natin kaya mag-lockdown. No, talagang hirap na, madami na nagugutom. We really need to balance it. No? The problem is, kahit anong higpit namin sa NCR, no, Let's say, pumunta ka ng BGC, yung mga tao doon, makikita mo, naka-physical distancing, naka-mask, ganyan, no? Tapos magmumotor lang, magkukotse, magkikita outside NCR. Pagdating doon, magiinuman, kakain, walang mask. Then uuwi ulit sa city, no? So, ang point ng mga mayors natin is kahit gaano tayo kahigpit sa NCR, pero paglabas niyan, hindi masyadong natutukan ng minimum health protocols, just the same. Papasok lang yan. Sabi nga din ng isang mayor natin, of course, there's new variants, so the UK variant, the South African variant. Ang point nila is, kung yan nagkaroon ng pagdami o surge na with existing COVID-19, yung dati pa, maintindihan natin yan, na-relax siguro ang tao, no? Pero ngayon may pumasok na bago. So, tanong lang nila, paano nakapasok, no? So maybe we should also review yung mga quarantine protocols, no? Sabi nga ng mga mayors, hindi naman sa Manila o sa Pilipinas naggawa yung mga new variant yan, galing sa ibang bansa yan. So kung may ipit ang protocols natin pagpasok, hindi talaga makakapasok yan. So meaning, no, yung burden laging nasa mga LGUs, no? O higpitan nyo, pag naghigpit tayo, nag-lockdown, sasabihin, naka-apekto sa ekonomiya dahil nga mahigpit ang NCR. Pero when you look at the bigger picture, it should be everyone, no? It's not only about the LGUs to enforce, no? Meaning, kung yung mga quarantine natin, siguro we need to review, no? Sabi nga ni Chairman Abalos at ng DOH. I also talked to Secretary Galvez and Secretary Duque kasi hindi natin alam pagdating sa quarantine hotel ng mga overseas workers o yung mga tourists natin, 5 days yan. Then after 5 to 7 days, isoswab yan. Pag nag-negative, uuwi na yan sa mga LGUs. Eh, hindi natin alam, during the 1st to the 5th day, baka nasa hotel yan, may nakakalabas, kumakain sa labas, may binibili sa labas kahit sandali. So doon pwedeng nag-transmit yung mga new variant. No? So ang sa amin lang is, of course, no, tulong-tulong tayo lahat, maghihigpit ang mga LGUs. Right now, no, there's many places, no, in NCR na naka-lockdown na. Meron sa Navota, sa Manila, sa Pasay, sa Marikina, Caloocan, no? Meaning, pag nakita ng mga very responsible po talaga ating mga mayors, no? Alam naman natin, highly urbanized ang Metro Manila, napakadami ng population. Pero still, no, nakokontrol pa rin eh. Sabi nga nila, dumating ang November, December, January, bumaba ang ating numero, kaya nga noong Feb 1, pwede na tayo mag-MGCQ dapat eh. Pero biglang nga ng surge, no? So meaning, pwede rin natin bigay yung konting fault, no, sa ating mga mamaya na-relax na. I heard the interview with Dr. Herbosa. Tama nga po, doon karoon ng COVID fatigue, nakakalimot na minsan yung mga face mask, masyadong kumbaga nasanay na, no, sa everyday, pupunta siya isang bite, tagal na mask, kakain, salo-salo, pupunta sa kapitbahay, makikipagkwentuhan, makikipagchismisan, mga ganyan, ano. So, sabi nga natin, kasi nga, siguro, one reason din, it's not the new variant. Of course, mas matindi ang transmission yan kasi nga, mas nakakahawa. But the point is, na medyo nagkaroon ng confidence yung mga mamamayan na dumating ang vaccine.
Paano natin gagawin, GM? What is the plan of attack? Kasi you pointed out that the mayors cannot afford or are not supporting lockdowns dahil nga marami raw nagugutom, but at the same time, we cannot deny na dumadami naman ang kaso requiring the standby acquisition of quarantine sites, etc. What is the plan of attack for the moment? Meron ba tayong initial and then emergency plan or whatever? Kasi sabi mo may mga na-lockdown na lugar na, yes, localized lockdown.
Yes. I think that's the key muna, no? Localized lockdown, targeted lockdown. Meaning isang barangay nagkaroon ng surge, sara natin yan. I-lockdown natin yan. Meaning may mga protocols doon, hindi pwede lumabas, no? Tapos pag tayo, testing, no? Yung contact tracing, napaka-importante niya na yung isang, like for example, Navotas, yung isang barangay, pupuntahan natin yan. Tutulong ang national government, magpapadala ng swabbers, itatest natin yung buong community. At least, no, kung yung mga barangay na wala namang surge, normal lang, hindi maapektuhan. Hindi masyadong maapektuhan yung ekonomiya doon. Ano? Kasi mahirap pag buong city or the whole NCR. masasakripisyo yung mga lugar na maayos naman, hindi ganun kadami, no? So, we will need to kinukurdon na lang natin. Ito, may marami rito, kurdon natin yan. O i-test natin lahat, contact trace, o may positive, ilabas natin yan, i-isolate natin sa mga offline clinics, sa mga hotels, para at least na-isolate natin yung positive sa negative.
So wala nang home quarantine dahil with UK variant and the South African variant, walang sinasanto. Lahat nahahawa, unlike the previous COVID vaccine, COVID virus, namimili sa pamilya. Ito mukhang hindi namimili. So paano pag mayroong nag-positive, isolate siya o lockdown yung buong bahay?
Depende sa LGU, no? Kaya nga, kung isa lang yan, dalawa, kunyari, meron silang 10 members sa bahay, dalawa nag-positive, yung dalawa pwede nating isolate yan, i-hotel natin yan. Yung 8, quarantine sila after 5 or 6 days, saka i-test pa rin doon sa last contact. Kasi nga sabi nila, para bumunga yan, mga 5 to 7 days. So para safe, like a 5th day or 6th day, i-test natin yung mga nakasalamuhan yan. Pagka positive ulit, codin mo, and then gano'n na naman, quarantine. No? Pero kung whole house, no, let's say 5 kayo, sa bahay, lahat kayo nag-positive, call na po ng LGU yan or DOH, City Health Officer, kung pwedeng i-lockdown the whole house, no? Kasi total, magkakasama lahat kayo nag-positive. Pero ang idea talaga is to get all the positive, isolate them, treat them, para at least ma-save natin yung community. Kasi sabi nga natin, no, I'm not a medical expert, no? Pero sinasabi na pwedeng airborne yan, hindi naman natin, let's say sa mga lugar, no, na talagang dikit-dikit ng bahay, dingding lang ang pagitan. May maganyang communities tayo, no, sa NCR. Yan, delikado yan, di ba? So, kailangan kunin natin sila kasi nga baka mahawa. Well, if you're talking about villages, may sariling CR, yun, call na po ng mga CHO yun. Pero what I'm talking about, yung mga community na dingding lang ang pagitan, dyan talaga nagkakaroon ng spread, no? Yung super spreader kung tawagin natin.
Okay, now, yung sa commercial establishments, paano na magiging setup natin? Right now, mukha namang merong mga contact tracing devices, may mga scanners, QR codes, etc. Mahigpit. Actually, yung sa istansya nga, practically lahat ng puntahan mong tindahan doon, kailangan labas mo yung passing code mo But what about in general in Metro Manila? Will people expect a reduced volume in the malls, etc.? Babalik ba sa 30% capacity, etc.?
Okay, first, no, yun nga yung nung meeting namin with the DOH. We also asked that question, no. Sabi nga sila mga mayors natin, yung mga establishments, madaling i-control yan sa protocol. Kasi pag di sila sumunod, pwede silang ipasara anytime may cancel ang business permit, no. That's why I was asking, no, nagkaroon ba ng balita, nagkaroon ng surge sa restaurants? Nagkaroon ba ng balita, nagkaroon ng surge sa public transportation? Nagkaroon ba ng balita, nagkaroon ng surge sa simbahan? Di ba? Kasi itong establishment na to, nagbigay tayo ng requirements, ng guidance, they're following. No? Nagkakaroon ng surge talaga sa household. Dito dumadami. Kasi nga pag uwi ng bahay, hindi natin mamamonitor yung mga health protocols. No? So pwedeng nakakuha yan sa labas, pero pag uwi niyan, doon magkakaroon ng search, no? Wala pa tayong ganung katindi, no, na contact tracing na pag uwi niyan, saan ba nanggaling yan? Pwede sa kapitbahay, sa park, di ba? Sa kalsada.
Nakipag-umpukan sa kanto, nakipag-karaoke.
Pero wala pa naman tayong nabalitaan, no? Of course, in other countries like in Korea, nagkaroon ng search sa simbahan. That's why nagkita tayo sa simbahan. Pero dito naman, wala pa naman tayong nabalitaan. Increase tayo lang from 10 capacity to 30%. Right now, it's 50%. But of course, I think yung mga ganyang mga organized establishments, they're very strict with the minimum health protocols. No?
Okay.
Naka-face mask, face shield, physical distancing. Ang talagang worry lang natin talaga is, let's say, sa mga restaurants, kung isang pamilya naman kayo magda-dine-in, magtatagal of course kayo ng mask, importante hindi lang kayo malikot na pag tumayo kayo, nagpunta kayo sa comfort room, wala pa rin mask, kailangan nakamask tayo dyan. So yung mga ganyang protocols, madaling i-monitor yan ng ating LGUs kasi may guidelines. Ang
Okay.
mahirap sa community na walang guidelines kahit saan, kapitbahay, di ba? Magtotokit sa kanto, magbibingo, mag-iinuman. Yes.
Yun. Okay, well, GM, thank you very much. Medyo nakakakalma yung presentation mo. Hindi pa naman malala ang sitwasyon. There will be localized lockdowns, targeted lockdowns, pero at least doon sa mga commercial establishments, wala tayong nakitang problema. Thank you very much for your time, GM Jojo Garcia.
Thank you, Sir Cito. No? Sa atin lang, no? Manageable to as long as yung ating mga kababayan po nakikicooperate sa gobyerno. Number one yung minimum health protocols. Thank you po at ingat po lagi.
Okay, God bless. Thank you very much. That's GM Jojo Garcia of the MMDA. Nadinig naman niyo po. You heard it from both our interviewees that by and large, government is able to manage the situation, and they're not denying there is a problem. They are not denying that we have to toughen up on certain yung mga sa health protocols. Huwag niyo na pong intayin na yung PNP sumita sa inyo, barangay tanod, etc. Do your part. Let's all follow the government. Let's all support the campaign against COVID-19 because we were almost there. Mag-MGCQ na tayo dapat. Nalusutan lang tayo. Maybe another 2 months, 3 months, baka wala na ito kasi may vaccine na. Let's just all pray together because that's the one thing we seem to be overlooking, the power of prayer, and I hope you will pray, and may God bless you. That's agenda for today.